All right, guys, due to a current event that includes a child and a mom and dad who are celebrities, a lot of people will be talking about a DV temporary restraining order. And it's for one particular state, California. So, every state, the DV situation in terms of restraining order may be different. So, what I'm trying to do with these videos, because I will make a series of videos just on California, is I want to see how the restraining orders work for California in terms of the DV ones, because people are making it seem like it's really hard to obtain one. And if you do obtain one, then the other party is guilty. But let's see what the lawyers are saying. And so I'll start with this one video, which I believe is maybe 5 minutes long. But let's see what the lawyers are saying in California when it comes to the restraining orders. Let's see if they're hard to get.
So I want to talk a little bit about domestic violence restraining orders and child custody matters. So there's a lot of, in my experience, there's a lot of domestic violence restraining orders that are thrown around, especially when going through a custody dispute. Sometimes people use
Seems
domestic violence
common.
restraining orders to gain leverage for custody. Unfortunately, there's actually some people who actually do need an actual restraining order, and there's actual danger, but there's others who know that if they're granted at least a temporary restraining order, they can keep the children away from the other parent for a bit of time, at least until the next hearing, and they won't be able to see the kids, talk to them, or show any
Sounds familiar.
visitation unless there's a temporary custody order that's granted, right? So in order to even avoid a whole domestic violence restraining order situation, you just want to make sure that you're being neutral with the other parent, you're being kind, you're speaking positively, you're focusing on the child and the best interest of that child. You don't want to be, arguing with the other parent. So if a situation becomes too tense, just leave, back out. It's not
There you
worth
go. Just
getting a
leave.
restraining order against you and potentially losing custody over your children or having limited custody rights. I've seen this a lot. And so a lot of people don't know that the scope of abuse is kind of broad. It's not just physically hitting somebody. It could be threatening someone, blocking their movements, taking their car keys so they can't leave, taking their cell phone, threatening to get them fired from their job, threatening to get them deported, doing things that can intimidate them or put them in fear, a reason about a fear. It can be stalking somebody, showing up at their house unannounced or in their neighborhood or whatever.
That sounds familiar. That sounds very familiar. And y'all don't need to think about the celebrity case. Y'all need to start thinking about yourselves, because some of y'all are gonna get restraining orders placed against y'all, because you see how easy it is to fall under that category where somebody can place a restraining order on you.
Of course, you have to look at the surrounding circumstance, but that just goes to show you that there's a lot of things that can classify as domestic violence, right? And so some people, some parents may try to set you up to
Set you up.
file a restraining order against you, if that makes sense, right? So they'll try. I've seen situations where one parent will try to provoke the other parent or get them frustrated so that they can run to the court and file a restraining order and say, hey, this person yelled at me, or they got in my face, or things like that. So I've seen a lot of that before. And so you just want to make sure that you're not falling into that trap, right? Some parents may try to get you to say stuff in writing or text messages, or to evoke some type of feelings out of you, to get you to call them numerous amount of times or leave a voicemail message. Do not leave threatening voicemail messages or text messages on the other parent's phone. You just want to keep the conversations neutral. If the other parent is talking crazy to you, if they're saying if they're using derogatory language or anything like that, just don't respond. You don't have to respond to that. Refocus the conversation on the best interest, or refocus the conversation on the child, at him.
As it should
And
be.
so, so you just want to avoid situations like that. People are recording, so they may try to get you in a situation where they can record you doing something, So you just want to be aware of that, because if you get a restraining order filed against you, or the restraining order is granted, that can impact your custody with your children. And so you don't want to go through that.
It
So
could.
those are the things, a little bit of the tips I wanted to share, given my experience and what I've seen. So if you need any help, or if you're in this situation, or if any of this sounds familiar, you can
So I'm gonna tag the lawyer down below, because I feel like a lot of these lawyer videos do not get a lot of views, but there's a lot of I don't want to slander anybody, but there's a lot of people who don't even have kids, who have a massive following, and because, when it comes to court situations with celebrities, they get a bunch of views, but they don't know what they're talking about. So, I'm gonna try to expose as many lawyer videos as possible. Maybe people who had to deal with restraining orders being filed against them, because as I look for videos to watch, I'm starting to see people say, like, their ex is like taking out restraining orders like crazy. Like, a lot of people making it seem like it's really hard to get a restraining order, but how hard could it be if you've got Rock Nation lawyers on your side? Like, it's not impossible to get a restraining order. People are just like, oh, well, if you got a restraining order placed against you, then you did something seriously bad. And it's like, hey, you probably did something, but will it hold up? Like, when they go to court, is it going to be something that's going to turn into a permanent order? Is it going to be an extended temporary order? We don't know. So you literally just got to wait for the parties to go to court, because I'm seeing from some of these videos, all of them from California, that sometimes these restraining orders, they get thrown out. And also, y'all are saying you need like a whole bunch of evidence to get the restraining orders, and some lawyers are not saying that.